Okay, so Trump calls Omarosa a dog. Translates into a bitch. I'm very interested in seeing how this plays out. I do believe tapes of Trump saying the N-word will surface. I do believe that. But only time will tell. So without any further ado, let's get into it.
Bullying can have a long-lasting impact on kids. Studies show more than 1 out of every 5 students reports being bullied. Kheris Rogers endured years of it because of the color of her skin, but the Los Angeles 11-year-old found support and empowerment from her big sister. Jamie Yukas shows us how they turned their bully takedown into a successful business.
You ready to get to work?
Yeah, are you ready to get to work?
Don't let the garage fool you.
Well, this is a lot of orders.
This is the headquarters of a booming fashion business run by sisters Kheris Rogers and Taylor Pollard. They created a t-shirt startup to prove what you wear can change how you feel.
So how many orders are we up to now?
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's sold well over 10,000 shirts. And that's amazing, you know, for an 11-year-old, and it's only been about a year.
10,000?
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, well, now it's probably more.
The sisters are now getting about 100 orders per day. But Flexin My Complexion was the result of Kheris being relentlessly bullied for her skin color.
So flexing my complexion means to me that it doesn't matter what other people think about you. It's what you think about yourself, and you don't let anybody tell you different.
The bullying began back when Kheris was in 1st grade. Kids called her a dead roach and asked if she'd been in the oven too long. One day, her teacher asked the class to create self-portraits, then handed Kheris a black crayon. The other African-American students were given brown.
And it hurt your feelings?
Yeah, it really did. Because I didn't think I was that dark. I thought I was like a regular skin, like brown.
Her mom moved her to a more diverse school, but her darker complexion continued to isolate her.
Kheris, would you come home and cry?
All the time. I wouldn't even want to go to school.
She was punched and threatened.
So one day she was taking a bath, and that's when she expressed to me that, you know, she wanted to stay in the bathtub longer in hopes that her skin would get lighter.
Taylor decided to act. She posted this picture on Twitter, writing, "My sister is only 10, but already royalty," adding the hashtag Flexin in her complexion, a saying their grandmother used to let the girls know they were beautiful.
So when you put it out on social media, did you expect like a couple likes?
Yeah, basically, because that's what happens on any other picture I post.
Yeah, we expected the same thing. The next day she said, "Oh my God, you're viral." I was like, what? And my mom was like, what's viral?
Right.
Like, what are
Your
y'all
mom didn't even know what it
talking
meant?
Right.
about? Yeah.
How many likes, retweets, what are we talking about?
It was up to almost 500,000 just likes, and she had even more retweets on Twitter.
I broke the internet.
Taylor suggested they put their slogan on shirts and sell them online.
Then my mom called me. She was like, "Lupita is wearing your shirt." I was shocked.
From an Oscar winner to Grammy Award-winning artist Alicia Keys, even rapper Snoop Dogg posted about Rogers on Instagram.
Like, whoa, that's crazy. Snoop Dogg is big.
Last September, Kheris became the youngest designer ever to participate in New York's Harlem Fashion Week.
So these are the hater blockers.
When the young CEO isn't struggling to keep up with the demand for her fashion line, she tries doing normal 11-year-old kid stuff, like going to camp.
So when you look in the mirror, what do you see?
I see black beauty. I see melanin popping. I see anything you could think of.
Is she making up new t-shirt names now?
I know, that's what I'm looking like, okay.
The sisters are certainly appreciative of the financial reward, but for them, success isn't in the money, it's in the message.
And it's changed like how other people feel about themselves. That's what I like to do, making sure other people are happy.
Because being comfortable with who you are proves beauty is only skin deep. For CBS This Morning, Jamie Yukas, Los Angeles.
Wow. I mean, write that name down, Kheris Rogers.
Yep.
That is not the last time you will hear from that young
selling
woman.
100 shirts
Great
a day.
story. Great story.
Yes.
Salute to Kheris Rogers. Excellent work. a young entrepreneur, 11 years old, from Los Angeles, California, took a negative time in her life and cashed in on it, selling her story. Sounds familiar? I did a story on her a month or two ago. She was being bullied by students, but in particular, black female students. She didn't understand why. They were telling her she was left in the oven too long, you're burnt. All of these horrible names trying to bully her, right? So her mother and her grandmother and her sister huddled around her and said, we will fix this for you. They created a game plan and they executed it to the T. They made it work. They said, listen, we are going to work on our daughter and sister, little sister, self-esteem right now. And I do believe through this process, Kheris has found out that she is photogenic. She's very photogenic, a brilliant mind. And she has mastered something a minority of women have mastered, and that's not caring what people say about you or think about you. She doesn't care if she sees a positive image of her on television or not. She said, I'm going to create that positive image, that positive energy. I don't think people understand how brilliant this is for a female at a young age to grasp this, which women of older age can't grasp. She mastered it. She said, listen, I'm going to put self-worth in myself. That's why it's called self-worth. At a time when women are so caught up in their image and their weight on an Instagram picture, on a photo, Twitter, makeup, extra hair, killing themselves for that Hollywood body. She said, no, I'm only 11 years old and I'm going to behave like a 11-year-old girl. That was key also. Her mind wasn't corrupted at a young age. Now she's the youngest to showcase her own clothing line at a fashion show. And she had models who walked the runway with Flexin in My Complexion shirts on, attire. Wow, congratulations. Wow, I don't know how this got overlooked here in the black sector of YouTube, but this is a great, great story. And not only that, they have their own production company where they produce their own t-shirts. So there is no middleman. They keep majority of the profit. And they are working out of their garage, which a lot of people started. Apple started in the garage. Look at Apple now. Kheris said, don't worry about what people think about you or what they say. Look at yourself every day in the mirror and say, you are somebody. That's great. She mastered something at a young age. Again, we are in an age where women get their value from the big screen, billboards, what men like. And this has become the norm. And now you have a 11-year-old girl, black girl, beautiful black girl. And she is going against the grain. And she has cashed in on it. Already sold 10K shirts. I'm going to leave the link of her website where you can order her shirts in the description box. Why this girl isn't talked about in the black sector of YouTube often, I don't know. I've been meaning to get around to this story, but it's so much news out there, so much important information. Not saying this isn't important also. And if you pay attention, she is surrounding herself with people who look like her. Okay? She's not only talking the talk, she's walking the walk. She has black boys and black girls there with her in dance class. You always hear about females having an issue with their skin color, but you always see them with Caucasian people like Amara La Negra. Prime example. So she said, listen, at a young age, 11 years old, Kheris said, listen, I want to help the boys and the girls. Boys and the girls. She's not one-sided. She's not one-sided. This is very unique. When you see how the female functioned in 2018. This is very, very unique. It's different. And also, they're not using the word colorism. They use the word complexion. I do believe that was done on purpose, and I do believe that was a great marketing strategy. They said, listen, we are going to create our own lane. Why? Because one apple spoils the bunch. Right? So you will see, as she starts getting bigger and bigger and bigger, she starts doing interviews, better believe the host is going to ask her colorism questions because they're going to want to link her with colorism. But no, she's not on a feminist, because colorism crybabies, and I call them colorism crybabies because they only want to point their finger at the men who perpetuate colorism. Meanwhile, you have a young 11-year-old girl who was forced to be an entrepreneur, which, hey, it worked out in her favor. That's why we're doing this story. Because she was being bullied by black girls at school, right? So because the women can't be accused of colorism, you can't call it colorism, right? And you see how that works? So this young girl at a young age understands all of this. And her and her family created her own lane. Own lane. And then on top of all of that, she surrounded herself with black boys and black girls, which you don't see people who have a problem, well, who say they have a problem with their complexion, or, society has a problem with it. You always see them referencing white people or in pictures with white people. You never see them promoting their skin color and or other people who look like them. And another thing Kheris did was she confronted the engineers, the cameramen, right? Because when you hear this skin complexion argument, it's always directed to a certain gender or a certain demographic of men. But the guys that are behind the cameras, the engineers, the producers, they never ever get called out. They never get called out. And so this 11-year-old girl said, I'm going to be the director of this show. I'm behind the camera. This is what I'm going to promote. It's just that simple. She said, I'm not going to be pointing the fingers. I'm going to do something about it and help others that's in my situation. She even have light-skinned and biracial girls promoting her shirts. She is, and this is how you bridge gaps. This is how you bridge gaps. Often, women are let off the hook about their problem with skin color. So when you hear certain situations, if she didn't tell her story, if this 11-year-old girl Kheris Rogers didn't tell her story, you would assume that it was guys harassing her. And I just think that it's time for women to start being honest on how they treat each other. And, you know, in their role in so-called colorism. As long as they can blame everyone else for colorism, they're fine. But once you have to check your sisters for doing it, that's where the problem lies. Rihanna. You guys love Rihanna. She went natural 2-3 weeks ago. Black women were online calling her hair nappy. I mean, that's not colorism, but you guys attack each other looks and complexion. And it's time for that discussion to be had. It's well overdue. You look at Gabby Douglas and Simone Biles. They couldn't even practice in peace. They couldn't perform in peace without their hair and their looks being attacked by who? No other than their sisters. I was gonna say counterparts, but no, that means men, sisters, not black men, not the males, the females. Matthew knows. He said his mother told him not to bring a nappy-headed black girl home. It's well overdue for the females, the women, to address that situation. Stop kicking that can down the road. Stop just blaming the men. Because this little girl is having the same issues other people are having when it comes to their complexion and their sisters. Women who look like them. And what put this young girl years ahead of at least 90% of women out there of all colors. This crosses barriers because she's getting her self-esteem from herself. And not only that, she's being, she's occupied. She's very, very busy. She don't have time to worry about what the outsiders say. She has modeling to do. She's dancing. She's in school. She's producing gear. She has her own brand at 11 years old. Any kid that bullies her at school, I'm pretty sure they will be expelled. Hopefully she has that type of treatment at school. Hey, you don't say anything about her. Right? And she's including the boys and the girls. It's not a one-sided situation with her. She's not a young feminist in the making. You understand what I'm saying? She understands that the boys and the girls go through it. Then she put up her black power fist, salute. She's embracing herself, which a lot of women claim that they have done, but they haven't. You can see that here on YouTube. I've been saying this for a while. The women are a major, major player in this colorism skin complexion game. She's not sitting online bragging about donations. In fact, her and her mother said, listen, it's not about the money. It's about the message. It's not about the money. It's about the message. That's what we get out of all of this, right? And that what makes them successful. They're going to be huge, right? Because they have a philosophy. They're legit. They're organic. This young girl took a tragedy and turned it into a blessing, a message, a teaching tool. And now she's being groomed into this entrepreneur, motivator, dancer, all of the above, entrepreneur, businesswoman. hopefully she should have a book deal in the making. Maybe, you know, her mother or her sister want to wait till she get around 15, 16, 17. That will be a great book, a great read. And of course, they're from Los Angeles, so it makes it much better because this is Hollywood. That's why I tell people, listen, if you're going to push certain things, you got to make it to Hollywood. You got to get to LA to push it. If you want people to take you seriously, you got to come here. It doesn't matter how big your platform is. If you want people to take you seriously, you're going to have to make that trip to LA because you need to network. And that's where this young sister got a leg up on the competition. It's in her backyard. She even had Snoop retweeting it. And a lot of women can learn from her. You know, sometimes you're going to have to swallow your pride. She got you guys by a long shot. You see all these women that are online having an issue with their skin complexion. And I'm going to do a video. I may upload it tomorrow or maybe wait till next week. But do you guys know Bria Miles? The Instagram, she is a thought. But she's a woman of a darker hue. But she is considered one of the hottest on Instagram. One of the hottest females on Instagram. And I wanted to do a video on why she doesn't cry about colorism. And I want to make the case that it's not about your skin color. It's about your attitude, your character, and your beauty. And this girl right here, Kheris Rogers, she showed that also. So I think I need to hammer that point home a little more. I think I need to hammer this point home a little more. You know, at a young age, this young girl is very, very market savvy. She already developed a swagger. She tapped into a market where she raises your self-esteem. She helps you. She helps you. She's not even a therapist. She's just telling you, listen, it's that simple. Just look in the mirror and tell yourself you are beautiful. Now, listen to her formula. It's not even a lot. It's real simple. It's short. Okay? And then you have these women online that are colorism activists or crybabies or whatever, and you listen to their message. And you put those messages side by side. Put those messages side by side. Kheris Rogers, 11 years old, against the women on YouTube talking about colorism. Kheris Rogers, is light years ahead of these females. Light years, like night and day. She's showing you, listen, you're going to get your self-esteem from yourself. That's why it's called self-esteem. People have grown away from simple things. They make things complicated, and it shouldn't be complicated. Some people are good with simplifying things. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if she's good in math. I mean, if she actually had enough time to do a YouTube channel, create content on YouTube, and she would, listen, the majority of her content wouldn't even be about her skin tone. That's how smart she is. The majority of her content would not be about her skin tone. It would be about success. It would be about her fashion show, having confidence. Because when you look at other women on YouTube, right, and they have a problem with their skin complexion, or they feel as though that light skinned and white women are seen more attractive than they are, right? And they seem to always reference TV shows, commercials. And if you are getting your self-esteem off of that, you're not going to get any self-esteem. You don't have any. you'll never get it. And so what this young 11-year-old sister, genius, entrepreneur did was said, listen, she said, listen, self-esteem means self. You get it from yourself. Just that simple. So therefore, she don't have any highs and lows, lows and highs. She get her self-esteem from herself. She's not looking on television and billboards and having huge discussions about it online. She's like, no, I'm going to deal with this. I'm going to take the law into my own hands. So salute to Kheris Rogers and her family. I'm out. Peace.